Oh my God, please help me, knee deep in the river trying to get clean. He says wash your hands, get out the stains, but you best believe, boy, there's hell to pay. Yeah, you best believe, boy, there's hell to pay. Saying, oh my God, please help me, waist deep in the river, can you hear my plea? He says, son, you come like a beggar in the street, you might make it, boy, but by the skin of your teeth. You might make it, boy, but by the skin of your teeth. Saying, eat the bread that once was sown, but from a cliff never broke a bone. My daddy get the king's overthrown, and I'm all alone, and the fire grows, and I'm all alone, and the fire grows.
CJ has to bed, and he's also dumb. Even though he's blind, he's not very fun. He has his own talk show, it's every gamer's dream. It's a crazy little talk show, and it's called Cookies and Cream.
Hey there, it's Cookies, and as a confession, just like 107% of the gaming community, I love From Software. As a matter of fact, I put in nearly 1,000 hours into Dark Souls 1. I still recall getting out of cross-country practice only to have the Madre roll up with the Collector's Edition as a yay for not sucking at sports that year. Now, I have dabbed in a few Armored Core entries in the past, but never dug deep into what made these cult titles so beloved. When the trailer for 6 came out, we all lost our shit collectively, like the entire internet. It reminded me of like when the PS5 trailer for Demon's Souls came out.
Yo! It's fucking Demon's Souls!
Even people that didn't play Demon's Souls knew this was tough shit. Same thing with Armored Core. Even people like myself who were not well-versed veterans knew this was a game to keep your eye on. With all they've learned over the years, what is the end result for Armored Core 6? While it maintains the philosophy of Souls-like design, while adding a more surface-level narrative, it's in the emphasis on mech customization and grand boss battles that again transcend the Armored Core series into the modern age of gaming, justifying itself as the greatest mech experience ever created.
Augmented human C4621 has awakened.
Call sign Raven. Priority subject for termination. High on the list.
Ready to climb the wall?
A call dissolves from the generator.
Why hide behind another's call sign?
Watch out.
Let's see how far they can fly on borrowed wings.
To address the elephant in the room, this title is not in the same vein as the Souls series, but it's still gonna beat your ass. But more on that later.
Regarding the narrative, Armored Core 6 is set in a future where humanity has developed an interstellar civilization. On the frontier planet of Rubicon 3, a substance called coral was discovered that could be used as both an energy source and a data conduit. Coral was hailed as the key to humanity's technological advancement, but instead it caused a cataclysmic event known as the Fires of Ibis, which engulfed the planet and the surrounding star system in flames and left behind a lethal contaminant. All coral in existence was thought to have been consumed by the disaster. 50 years later, however, signs of coral are once again detected on Rubicon 3. Corporations flock to exploit the planet and control the
Carl.
heedless of the cost and harm to the inhabitants, and mercenaries follow to profit from the conflict. The player is an augmented human designated C4-621 who is in servitude to an infamous handler named Walter, and fights as an Armored Corps pilot on the promise of earning a new life by taking on mercenary jobs. After illegally landing on Rubicon 3, C4-621, aka U, steals the license of a deceased mercenary and assumes the call sign Raven.
It's basically like most mech-based animes. This storyline gave me Ace Combat 7 vibes in numerous ways, having an adrenaline-fueled soundtrack queuing up set pieces. And enemies chatting over intercom in-game, elevating the tension as they discuss philosophy and politics.
Attacking a watch point. You're incorrigible, Handler Walter. How many of your dogs must I kill before you learn? Blood. I hear you make fine hounds with the right training. Shame you'll have to die here.
2 repair kits remaining.
Oh, and the mission briefings during load screens. Oh, those old school vintage Call of Duty load screens.
This is an operation of my own design. Consider it a privilege to be called to participate. You will be attacking The Wall, a key trading outpost fortified by the Rubicon Liberation Front. The rabble have formed a defensive line comprised of artillery and MT squads.
While Ace Combat 7 dialed this concept to a T to provide a seamless experience, there are moments in Armored Core 6 that feel tonally off, and a lot of this can be due to the anime nature of the conversations. It's almost like the Metro conundrum, where the studio's main language flows well in cutscenes. And while the English voice actors are good, there's a noticeable dip in pacing since the script wasn't written with English predominantly in mind. This issue is minor in the grand scheme of things because the story merely serves as a vessel to dial up all this mech mayhem. The game's foundation, and wildly enough, still follows that Souls-like design, but with a different instrument. Let me explain. In a Souls game, you spawn in, go through some various areas with enemies, lore, and loop-arounds that give the world a larger-than-life feel. Now for Armored Core, it takes these longer tracks in the Souls games and divides them up into smaller, bite-sized levels, some going 5 minutes, others going up to 30. This is due to the focus of the game still retaining that old-school Armored Core charm. Where Souls games are about trial and error in a world with cryptic lore that the player uncovers through isolated experimentation, Armored Core 6 is about trial and error through replayability of similar levels, constantly upgrading and altering your mech to fit dynamic playstyles. I mean, let's cut to the chase. Now, the customization on these bad boys is unparalleled to any mech game before, even giving the customization for various car games a run for their money. Nearly every single element of these machines can be significantly adjusted, both in terms of functionality and aesthetics. Similar to Souls games, the builds you can create are massive, and every single level will ask for unique combinations with the tools on your suit. I also want to stress, just like in every other Souls game FromSoft has made, the sound design is impeccable. The environmental storytelling is of course top-notch. Grand, choir-esque music really ramp up the tension, but even those quieter, more somber moments in between battles are just as impactful. The balancing is exceptional, and you will spend hours and hours replaying these smaller bite-sized levels trying to reach the perfect score. But don't let the sentence fool you. The game is massive, with some eye-dropping scenes over its 50-plus hour campaign. If only the same could be said for the graphical fidelity. This is the best looking Armored Core game by a country mile, but the draw distance means that fidelity is sacrificed to maintain frame rate, which leaves some samey-esque industrial environments and bland textures on more than one occasion. In motion, this is not a problem as you dodge dozens, if not hundreds of projectiles, but those moments when the action halts can offer this "I've been here before" vibes in some uninspired landscapes that feel last gen. But taking a step back to the dodging of projectiles, this is quite possibly where Armored Core 6 hits its stride. Souls games are focused more so on those mano-a-mano interactions with a camera system closer to the player character. But Armored Core 6 pulls this camera out to accomplish three main goals: offer a grand scale of the decayed environments, bring on 10 times the amount of dodgeable fire, and give us as the player more of a view on your badass contraption in action. While the focus on high speed that puts even Bloodborne to shame, perfectionists will love this, and mech enthusiasts will be mesmerized by the spectacle and moment-to-moment gameplay. This bleeds into the boss battles that are as good as From Software has ever been.
Raven, I've identified an approaching enemy. I'll synchronize with your brainwaves and maintain contact to support you. Main system, reactivating combat mode. I've looked into the enemy craft. It's an autonomous PCA craft. That is. You'll have to break its pulse armor to inflict meaningful damage.
Some may even sneak up onto my top 10 favorite FromSoft bosses ever list, and that's saying quite a lot. It's akin to their titles that these bosses are the grand result of all your training and hours with an endless grind to study the moves, improvise on the fly, and conquer some of the most difficult dickheads the gaming industry has had in a long time. For those up to the challenge, there is a lengthy unlock system and fantastic set of missions that constantly escalate the tension within the gamer. The sound of enemy fire pierces the wind. The speed of your mech is felt with the momentum of every swing and shot you take. The story, while a bit over the top and disorganized, dials in the greatest hits of your favorite Gundam animes. And above all else, the combat is endlessly rewarding. From Software has done the impossible yet again, with resurrecting this niche franchise back from the dead, without sacrificing what made it so beloved by its fanbase. As someone who is new to the series, I'm ecstatic to see what comes next. Have you ever played the previous entries? Ever thought of rolling up in a mech in person? Any opinions on the future of From Software? Comment below and let me know the vibes. If you liked the video and want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe, or dislike and describe how a real mech should be customized for the fires of Rubicon. As always, thank you for checking out this shit, and have a kick-ass day.